Hey, happy Tuesday. Happy book review day. Today's book review is really a threefer. They're all by Hugh Howey. There's Wool, Shift, and Dust. And these are the books that the recent TV series on Apple TV, Silo, are based on. If you haven't seen the TV show, obviously it doesn't matter. You can still enjoy the books on their own. The basic premise is we're in a future America where they have built silos to protect people um, from the post-apocalyptic world outside, and so they live underground, and there's a very regimented structure of the culture, and um, they don't know what's outside, and their history has been forgotten. And of course, some characters end up digging up some of that history and finding that. And yeah, so if you haven't seen the series and you want to watch the TV series and not have spoilers, you should stop now, because I am going to talk a little bit about kind of what happens and how it breaks down in the books versus the TV show. But I will say, in general, like there are pretty significant changes between the books and the series, and I'm always super interested in adaptations. But again, if you don't want spoilers, stop. So Howey wrote these books. Wool was originally written as a short story in 2011, and Shift then I think was maybe written as a series of novellas in 2012, and then Dust is in 2013. And obviously the TV series just came out, I think, this year. So he's had a lot of time to think about it, and he's actually really involved in the process of the TV show as a producer. So I, I'm always really interested in that adaptation, and I would imagine as an author, it's another crack at the apple to like go like get those things right that maybe you weren't quite satisfied with, but then it was in print, and so that just lived on. Um, and to me, it feels like that. Having watched the first season and then having read the books, I feel like the TV series is a more polished version, and honestly, kind of more interesting. It's the same basic premise, but some things change. So, for instance, Wool, the first book, only represents about the first I mean, season one of the Apple TV show only represents about a third of the first book. A lot more happens in it. So, Juliet discovers that there are other silos, and she actually finds one and meets another character in there. And then you get that character's backstory. And then, by the end of book one, Wool, Juliet goes back to her original silo and is declared mayor. Um, and so, like, none of that's in season one. So it'll be interesting to see how they continue to adapt it. When we get to Shift, Shift is really a flashback. It is essentially how the silos were made and why they were made, and the people involved in it. And then when you get to Dust, it picks up where book one left off. And so now you have the knowledge of where the silos came from and who built them. And then in book three, all those stories converge. And yeah, I mean, it's an interesting series. I like the idea. I think the thing that stuck with me most is in one of the scenes, and I'm not going to get it exactly right, but one of the lines is, why spend all our money going to explore a new planet because we've ruined ours when we can just ruin ours and treat it like a new planet? And so the big spoiler is that you realize the American government and, well, a sect, a group, an elite group of the government and military has destroyed the planet intentionally so they can control the outcome and who survives. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting, compelling story. I will continue watching the series and see how they adapt it. I mean, the big differences between the series and the books are definitely more diversity in characters and more depth. The characters are a little more intriguing in the series. They've combined some of the characters in the book, um, and in the process, I think made the characters on the TV series much more compelling and interesting. But anyway, Wool, Shift, Dust, Hugh, Howey. I would recommend, and if you haven't seen the series, definitely check it out. Bye. Have a good one.